How's it going, guys? This is the Red Den podcast with your host, Adam Langford. That's me. And this week, I'm going to be reflecting with my diary here in front of me. I say diary, it's a notebook, man. I just scribbled some things in throughout the week. Um, I wanted this to be like as raw as possible and as authentic as possible. So I'm I quite literally have little sentences that I wrote down, little things that popped into my head that I wrote down between these two pages, um, that I thought about and I reflected on. This page is dated the 8th of February, so whenever that was oh god, how many days ago was that? That was 6 days ago. It is now Valentine's Day. I'm recording on the 14th of February, and that's something we can get into at the end of the podcast. Um, but for now, for those listening, um, and commuting to wherever you're going, please drive safe. And everybody, I hope you enjoy this podcast episode. This week started well. I'm going to be honest. This week did start very well. It only being Tuesday, but yesterday, on Monday, I had a very, what I would like to call, successful day in self improvement and bettering my time management. For a start, I got back into the gym. By got back into the gym, I have a personal trainer online, and I have my own gym equipment at home. So I'm working off of that to the best of my ability. I do prefer a gym environment, but then I also try to make use of the equipment that me and my father have collected over the years. Um, so I'm trying to utilize that and spend less money. Ironically, spending more money on the PT, and let's not even get into that right now. But I got back in the gym, strength training. It was a push day. I feel good, and that attributed to my mood today. And there was a point yesterday, actually. I went to work. I worked from 8 to 5. I had to wait for my fiance to get out of work about 5:30, and then we drove home. From 5:30, the drive home, let's say I got home around 10 to 6 ish, I had spent the half hour waiting for my fiance for the first time, I think, ever, properly planning out what I was going to do. Like, I mean, hour by hour, I had pre-workout meal, and while I was waiting for the pre-workout meal that I had to settle and digest, between me working out, I was working on the brand, working on the logo, working on the YouTube banner and everything that you see. The new channel, let's call it art for now, because my vocabulary has just plummeted after a day's work. But yeah, I worked on that for the hour and a half, let's say, in between eating and my workout. So I want to say, by 8 o'clock, I was in the gym, but I wasn't. 8 o'clock came around and I was meant to be in the gym, but I procrastinated the tiniest bit by just wanting to finish a couple of things on the bio, and I was like, oh, okay, let's go onto the Instagram page now and update the bio there. And I stopped myself and I was like, no, I see what you're doing here. You're trying to prolong the inevitable of you having to go into the gym. You're trying to prolong, like, long it out enough so you decide, oh no, it's okay, we can do it tomorrow. Or the excuse that I always put in my head, you can do it tomorrow. Because I've been a firm believer of the hardest part about anything is showing up. And that's so true when it comes to health and fitness and going to the gym. The hardest part sometimes is just showing up and being there. And I guess that I can sometimes take for granted, because I don't have to physically leave my comfort zone to go out to the closest town or to go to a gym outside of my own property and outside of my own house, I just go to the next room. Now, before, it used to be in this very room. This very room that I'm sitting in now, that is now my office, used to be a gym solely, and then it was an office slash gym, and now it is a office with a changing table. Um, More on that later. But I got in the gym. I stopped myself mid. I don't know what's the word to use here, but I was about to do what I always did, and I stopped myself. And for that, I'm quite proud. And now I just need to keep showing up, get the results that I want to. I'm not particularly crazy overweight, but I know I can be in so much better shape, and I know that I will feel so much better for it. And I just enjoy going to the gym anyway. I do thoroughly enjoy it. Now, you might be thinking, well, if you enjoy it so much, why haven't you been doing it? Laziness. I guess. Laziness, it's a lot of things, really. I don't know. Excuses? Not really wanting, even though I enjoyed going to the gym, I didn't really want it bad enough. And it's being, have a nicer body, to feel stronger, all of that kind of stuff. I had settled into for the last year, I have definitely settled into the comfy kind of dad bod look where I have a bit of density to my top half, but as soon as you get to my belly, it's a bit of squidge. And no, I've never had abs, and I've never had anything like that, and I've always like, oh, that'd be so nice to look like this person and that person. And my brother-in-law is an example. He's an incredible PT and an incredible coach, and my cousin is an PT as well, and she has had a crazy transformation, and she looks incredible. And there's just these people around me. One of my friends from back in school days, he is an incredibly strong individual who does a lot of strength training. And I look at all these people and I'm like, damn, like I have dipped into all of their worlds and worked out alongside each of them. And I really, really enjoyed it and really, really missed it. I think strength training was honestly one of my favorite things. Lifting heavy weights and just ripping it. Like learning to squat properly with my friend Chris was incredibly fun. And he taught me so much working with him and working out with him. And then my brother-in-law and my cousin, I've learned so much from all of them, and I hope that maybe they have taken something from me as well. Maybe not, but they know more about that industry and health and fitness than I do, for sure. But maybe they've taken something from me, hopefully. My point being, I've gotten a bit off track. My point being, I'm happy. I'm back in the gym. I'm happy. I'm going at it. And hopefully for those viewers on YouTube and the viewers on Spotify, you will see a difference, maybe. I just want to be healthy and strong. I'm trying not to do it for the wrong reasons, but there's always that part of me that like really just I want bigger arms, and I want wider shoulders and a bigger back because they're my weak spots, and I know that and I acknowledge that. But that's the selfish part of me that just wants to look better, but I also want to feel better, and in turn my mind feels better. It's all this knock-on effect. Going to the gym and working out, doing yoga, doing all of these little things has such an immense impact, and has had such an immense impact on my life. Before, I encourage everyone around me that I bump into, that I walk into, not force it down their throats, but I highly encourage the act of being physically active, let's say. Whatever way that comes for you, maybe it's running, maybe it's walking, maybe it's yoga, Pilates, boxing is something I delved into as well, which was incredible. But a couple of injuries is just not feasible for me to continue down that road, unfortunately. I encourage every single one of you listening, even if you're even if it feels like there's no hope and you just can't do it, or you get tired after walking up the stairs, even more reason for you to just start. That start doesn't have to be something crazy. You see all these people on Instagram and they're doing incredible workouts and they have incredibly big muscles, or that girl who has the really nice body, amazing ass, and all of that stuff that people look for. Like me, I look towards Chris Bumstead and I'm like, oh my god. Jeff Nippard is another person I look at, and all of these Alex Eubank, incredible physiques, and I look at them and go, damn, that's what, like, I want to get there. I want to get to that stage, but I acknowledge fully, and I know that comes through, in some cases, assistance, but in other cases, just, it's always, no, sorry, let me scratch that. It always comes through hard work, even with the assistance of hormonal supplements, let's call them. I'm not educated in that area of bodybuilding and things like this, so I'm not going to speak much on it, but either way, it comes with hard work and discipline every time. If you're natty, if you're not, every time it comes with hard work, and that is something that I have always respected, and I hope to achieve, and I hope to adopt that better, fitter, stronger lifestyle. And the only thing that's going to help me adopt that, and the thing that helped me adopt that yesterday, was through planning, which then boils down to the next thing that I wrote in my notebook. Time management is a game changer. Planning out my day and saying and letting my fiance know, I said, look, when I go home, this is what I'm doing, here to here. You have me free from like 9:30 onwards. Unfortunately, it wasn't true in my case, I think. Because I planned to record this episode yesterday, I had to push a couple of things back. Through that period of procrastination before working out, that little thing set everything back and I didn't get this recorded, but it's fine. Because again, I learned from it. And procrastination is the killer of, oh my god, procrastination, I heard this very recently, let me get this right. Procrastination is a coping mechanism to avoid a lot of things, to avoid your responsibilities, to avoid the things you fear doing, your anxieties. That's what procrastination subconsciously is. You are avoiding the responsibility of hoovering your floor, so you pick up TikTok and you get stuck on this endless loop of swiping up and down and double tapping, and your emotions go up and down and you're double tapping, and it's this horrible loop that you just get lost in. Procrastination comes in so many ways. But yeah, I stopped that, and I'm going to, every time, call me out for my bullshit. That's what I'm going to do to myself, and acknowledge that, nah, you're trying to get out of this, but no, we're going to go do this. We're going to go do this whether we like it or not, because that's what's going to get the results. That's what's going to make us feel better in the end. I may hate me now. I may be very grumpy with me in the morning because I didn't get like quite the amount of sleep that I should have, but it's going to get the results. So procrastination is something I'm going to be fighting with throughout this journey, but I will update you when I figure out more about that. For now though, general time management was so key throughout my week, and it has always been, oh my god, it has always been my weakness. I swear to god, it has. It's just been such an Achilles heel for me. Time management. Like, I'm a punctual person when I need to be somewhere, but it seems to be, whenever it comes to doing stuff for myself, this is going to come back around to my first point that I wrote down, which I'm going to read because off the top of my head, I didn't want to paraphrase. Why do you not respect yourself the way you respect others? Is what I wrote down. And I feel like a lot of us might have that, and a lot of you might be able to relate to having a almost people-pleasing nature. Not that I'm an incredibly agreeable person. I am a highly disagreeable person, or I'd like to think I am. But when it comes to respecting myself and the things I want, I have lost that over the past couple of years for, I don't know. I don't know why. It's something I still need to look into and still need to figure out. Maybe I've just used my relationship as an excuse to get lazy and blame things on that because I wanted to make sure that my fiance was happy, or I wanted to improve myself in relationships because I had such a I had and still have do I still have I had commitment issues quite severely from previous relationships and just life in general. I got so used to being my own person, and I'm going to use the word a bit of a loner, that committing to a late relationship was really hard for me at the start. But now, where I am and the situation I am in life, I am incredibly happy. And you know what? Looking back, I am relieved and glad that I have pushed my own goals aside for the time that I did, so that I could improve myself in a romantic sense and improve my relationship and my social skills and my people skills and improve my communication skills with not only, let's say, my fiance, but by finding a job and working in retail for the last year and a half, I feel like I have learned a lot about how people not only view me, but how I communicate with people. I may, I sometimes come across as blunt and really direct. So I have learnt to soften the blow with certain individuals who take it to heart more because there are more emotionally responsive people in the world. And there was a bit of ignorance on my part, thinking that I'm just telling you how it is. Can't you deal with it, kind of thing. And that was bad on my part. So I grew from that. I've grown for the past, looking back right now in this moment, I have realized that I have grown even without realizing it. And this is what this podcast is about. This is what this whole thing is about. Taking the time to sit down and reflect on yourself. It feels like therapy. Right now, I'm talking to a camera and a microphone, and I feel like, wow, this feels like a weight off my shoulders. Holy. I would not change the last 3 years one bit, because it got me to where I am today. Yes, it may be true that I may be further along in my endeavors when it comes to social media and my future business and all of these things. But as a human being, just as a normal guy, I would not change a thing. So for that, I'm grateful. Gratitude. Gratitude is something that we as a society, need to sit down and practice more. Being grateful for the simplest things can improve happiness immensely. There's a question I get asked a lot, and I feel like everyone in Ireland asks it a great deal, which is, how are you? And a lot of people take that question lightly as, I'm fine, but if you really sat down with that person, you'd find that they're going through a lot of shit, but they still say that they're fine. And I think, how are you is such a wasted question in Ireland at today, because it gets asked so frequently. It's just lost its effect. But every time I get asked it, I seem to hit them with, well, I'm alive. I'm alive, so I can't complain. I don't intend it to be this humorous kind of thing that, well, I'm alive, what can I complain about? But I genuinely mean that. Like, when I say I'm alive, I'm happy. I'm grateful. I'm grateful that I got to wake up this morning next to my beautiful fiance, and I got to get out of bed, and I have two legs that are working and a mouth that works a bit too well for all the speaking that I'm capable of doing. But quite simply, practicing gratitude more often and on a regular basis helped me improve my view on many things. And also learning that this is going to be hard to hear for some people, but you, as a human, get to choose your own happiness. Even in the darkest of times, sometimes, when you get bad news, in some cases, yes, you are obviously going to need time to grieve, and that it would be absurd of me to say otherwise. No, you just move on and be happy. No, that's not my point. I feel like this might be misinterpreted, but what I'm trying to say is, you can choose how you feel about a certain situation. And I truly mean that. You can get some bad news, but still find happiness in that situation. I have done recently. And the way I handled it was by quite simply thinking to myself, X thing has happened. There is nothing that I can do now to change that this has already happened. How do I move on now and grow from this? And honestly, for a moment in my life where I should have been mad, where I should have been angry, where I should have been resentful, I feel like they're all the feelings I would have felt if this was me from 5 years ago, but I didn't. I simply thought them three things. Can I control this now? No. It's already happened. How can I grow from this? And the third thing being, I don't know, I think I said three things, but I can't quite remember now, thinking back. Oh God. You get my point. You choose your reaction, which then leads you to feel how you feel. Quite honestly. It's like, if someone calls me a name, I choose not to be offended, and I choose not to let it get to me. I choose all these things because that is my conscious decision and choice to not be affected by some meaningless words that Jerry has said to me. I've never met a Jerry in my life, by the way. I don't think I have. Oh, I have. I'm lying. I have met a Jerry in my life. Oh my god, Jerry with a G, because that's a thing in Ireland, I think. But yeah, the power of understanding that you are the controller of your own emotion can truly make you an unbreakable and unstoppable force. And I truly, truly believe that. I understand that this podcast has been a bit all over the place because that's how my head works. Sorry if it's hard to understand. I will do my best to take a point, focus on it, move on to the next point, focus on that, move on to the next point, focus on that. But when I talk about one thing, I just seem to find the relations between going to the gym, general time management, how that makes me feel. Time management led me to going to the gym in the first place, and it just kind of spirals out of control. But out of the things I've learned in the past week, I would say easily, I would easily say that I need to learn to respect my goals and respect my ambitions the way I respect other people, in a sense that when I get asked to do something at work or when I get asked to do something in everyday life, I do it because I'm doing it for someone else, and that is my standard that I hold myself to, that I will do that job to the best of my ability because that is a standard that I have set for myself, but I don't apply that to doing things for myself. And that's, I guess, just a lack of respect for, again, myself, which is a strange thing. But I'm practicing more, and I will get better. I will get better at it. And I hope in the coming weeks that I will be able to say that I do, and confidently say that I do respect myself. Not just because I want to, because I have proven to myself that I do now. That I have my shit together, let's say. Um, yeah. Procrastination is something that I'm going to try to weed out. It's always going to be there and it's always going to happen at some point or another because it always does and it's inevitable. But by time managing better, procrastination becomes minimal. So it's the app on my phone, the reminders app on my iPhone, is what will be a godsend or a lifeline in this situation. So yeah, I think 2023 is going to be an extremely good year for me, and an extremely good year for all of you listening too. We can all go on this journey together, and I would like for you all to let me know how that journey is going for you by telling me down in the comments below on YouTube or on my Instagram. You can DM me and bring a conversation to life. I don't mind having a conversation and talking about topics and situations that might be going on in your life. That is something I am 100% open to. But I think that's everything for this podcast. So, thank you all so much for watching. Stay awesome, stay frosty, and yeah, good night, goodbye, God bless. I never say God bless. Why did I say that? I'm not a particularly religious person either.